had the opportunity, Rob, to read some of the ways in which you've detailed the fact that the stimulus package has not worked. Would you care to elaborate some of those?
Well, let's look here at the state of Connecticut. We received about $3.2 billion in stimulus money. $1.2 billion was for Medicaid payments. Now, look, Medicaid's an important program. We understand that we have to pay the bills. But that is a transfer of $1.2 billion from the federal government to the state government that helps the state government balance its budget. It doesn't really create jobs. It may possibly prevent somebody from being laid off, but it doesn't create jobs and it doesn't stimulate the economy. Point two, about $800 million, I'm told, went to education. Well, my wife's a teacher, and we know how important education is, but that's a transfer of money from the federal government to the state government and then out to our municipalities. That's a government-to-government transfer. It doesn't stimulate the economy. And when you ask small businessmen and women, what did you get from the stimulus package? You know what the answer is? Nothing. Now, why is that important? Here in the state of Connecticut, 53% of all businesses are 4 or less employees.
Really?
73% of all businesses are 9 or less employees. And nationwide, 96% of all businesses are 20 or less employees. That's where the jobs are created. That's where the economy lies. And yet the stimulus package ignored small business. That's unacceptable. It doesn't make sense. And I would like to see that change.
Well, our good senator has been behind closed doors with Harry Reid developing a 2,074-page Senate bill. I know it has employer mandate taxes. I know it has excise taxes on comprehensive health insurance plans. Would it be fair to say that you don't think this is the way we should go about solving the health care problem?
I think that bill is a disgrace, and I think the method that was used to create that bill was a disgrace. And I called for transparency and openness, and Senator Dodd's campaign responded by saying it's a very open process, and then he went behind closed doors with a couple of leaders to put together this monstrosity. If cost of health care is an issue in America today, why is there nothing in there on tort reform and liability lawsuits? Doctors will tell you that they practice defensive medicine because they're afraid of being sued. Lawsuits and coverages, insurance coverage against frivolous lawsuits is a $100 billion expense. Why is there nothing in there to create competition across state lines for health insurance? Why is there nothing in there to promote medical savings accounts? And in fact, they take them out. So this bill has missed, it's missed the point. It's nothing in there to cut costs. It's simply increasing taxes on the backs of the taxpayer and small business. This bill is a travesty. It needs to be thrown out totally and completely, and they need to start over from scratch.
I would ask you a follow-up question, but I want to get to an area where I think you really shine, and that's the area of foreign policy. And I studied at Georgetown School of Foreign Service, so it's my personal area of interest. As the former chairman of the House, I want to make sure I get this right. It was the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Intelligence, Information Sharing, and Terrorism Risk.
Yes.
You noted, you recently pointed out the fact that Senator Dodd had reversed himself in inviting Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 4 other terrorists back to New York City.
I think that's a really an unfortunate decision. For the longest time, he voted to keep these terrorists secure in Guantanamo, where there's a military commission, where they agreed to go before the military commission and be judged. And the taxpayer has built this facility at millions of dollars. I've been in it. It's a courtroom. It's air conditioned. It's very, very modern. And why shouldn't they be judged there? Why should the 9/11 victims, and I wear a 9/11 ribbon in my lapel, why should the 9/11 victims' families be confronted with a kangaroo court with the propaganda promoting jihad in New York City at a cost of $75 or more million to our taxpayers. That's a disgrace. I oppose it, and I think Senator Dodd should be ashamed that he voted for this to happen.
Okay, now I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate with you, only in that an alternate view that has been posed is that the people of New York should have an opportunity to be part of this trial process.
I talked to a woman today. She called me. She's from Connecticut. Her son, a wonderful young man, bright guy, was killed on 9/11. And she's distraught. She says, why do we have to now suffer through the publicity, the propaganda, the talk that will attend this trial? And why do people who are not Americans, who killed my son, murdered my son in cold blood, why do they get the benefit of a civilian court in the United States of America? That should be reserved for American citizens. These enemy combatants, these detainees, are not prisoners of war in the traditional sense. They don't deserve a civilian court judgment in this country. And she says, every day that they talk about it, my husband and I just remember our wonderful son who was killed by them. And I think that feeling is out there and needs to be respected.
I'm glad you shared that with us, because I think a lot of people have lost their sensitivity to the issue.
Yes.
Time has a tendency to do that to us. And
yeah.
We only have a few seconds before we're going to have to begin our wrap-up process. As we close tonight, what would you like to say to the people?
Well, I would say that as a candidate for public office, I would ask them for their support, and I would tell them that I carry the Constitution in my pocket. It begins with three beautiful words, which is "We the people." I've always been honored to serve the people as an elected official, as a military officer, and as a CIA officer, and I look forward to doing it again. And I thank you for giving me the chance to speak.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. I know I feel even more confident in my endorsement of you. And with that, I'd like to remind everybody that Brookfield Today and Beyond was brought to you this evening by the Brookfield Republican Town Committee. If you're interested in learning more about Rob Simmons and his campaign, you can go to www.joinrobsimmons.com. And if you want to talk to the Brookfield Republican Town Committee, www.brookfieldgop.com. Again, thank you. Alex DeLucia signing off this evening. Now that will.